Hello everyone, and welcome to another Toonkind at 12 FPS. I'm Vamp. Yes, it's been a while. Don't at me. And today I'll be playing my lucky boy Mersel. And I am joined by my wonderful, lovely, talented, amazing friend.
Back at you with all those adjectives, but also applicable to me. It's Kraken. I'm playing Wizard Boy, or Wizard in multiple things at this point. Craigory Danthew-Dovran.
Yep, and honestly, at this point, it was kind of given that they would have met at some point. Like, come on,
Come on.
come on. But our story begins in the lovely and wonderful and convenient place of Toontown.
Where everything happens forever.
Yep. And I imagine Sal's probably at the market. It's a little after work, and the market's like more empty than it usually would be, and he is getting groceries for the studio kitchen.
General groceries, or is he planning anything special? Just out of curiosity.
Just general groceries.
Nice, nice. Uh, I think then it becomes perception check for Cell.
Yeah. All right. Let me roll his perception. God, I open up his sheet and instantly forget that he's level 11.
Listen, this boy's about to be level 10, so.
Yeah, this is level 11 despite me taking a year hiatus.
Wahoo. Okay, 18. Uh, Cell, you have become. First, became aware of it seemed like. You know that prick on the back of your neck that means somebody's, like, watching you?
Yep.
18, got that. Also, can pinpoint who it is because they are walking directly towards you and also not being sneaky because this person is waving and calling out, oh, hey, Dad.
Marcel was like turning and he was smiling like he's like, oh, mistaken person identity, someone I helped on an adventure that I forgot about. And then like this guy who can't even be that much like he can't even tell if this guy's younger or older than him, but whatever they are, they can't be like there can't be that big of a gap in age. This
They're
guy
not.
this straight up calls him dad, and he's just standing there and his brain is like going a mile a minute, and he's having like a slight crisis because this person says it so fucking confidently, and he's just like, did something happen? Is this like year-long lull where I've only been getting like, like low stakes, like no like overreaching like plots, like the calm before the storm? Did someone clone me or something?
Marcel's having a crisis. I'm going to roll a history for Craigory to see if he cottons on to his mistake. How quickly? Are you fucking kidding me? Marcel is 2 feet taller than.
Craigory absolutely has no recollection, no familiarity whatsoever.
Oh dear. Uh. God, that's a 5 on history. So I think what happened is this person has trotted right on up to you, Marcel, seems to get right there, just kind of beaming, all friendly, and then all at once, just, oh, you are way too. Backs up a few steps.
Yeah, Marcel just kind of makes like a squeaky toy noise.
You are now being deeply scrutinized. This person's like,
And for Craigory, because that's who it is in case y'all were wondering, not. Um first of all, this tune is like 2 feet taller than you. He's 6'11".
that's one. That's a bit less than a foot, but 2 feet
He
taller than who he
win.
was actually expecting.
Yeah, 2 feet taller than Win. However, there are a lot of similarities. They have like the same general Ghiblian art style. They have the same kind of hairstyle. They have the same hair color, the same skin color, and they both appear to be mages. And the way he's fucking blue screening right now is reminiscent of Win as well.
Yeah, and for all that, especially since that was a 5,
Make it disadvantage. That's a 5.
listen, because it's a 5, first, this person, Craigory says, you wouldn't, do you know a wind chimes, perchance? And then rolling recognition and advantage. Uh, that's not much better.
That's a 9.
A 9 is not much better.
I
The
don't know.
confusion doesn't abate any because Craigory knows this is not, in fact, his dad, wind chimes. Oh dear. But this person is
Yeah.
still now familiar for reasons he can't put his finger on, and it's
Yeah, I'm actually not gonna roll history for Marcel. Not mostly because I think Cell would actually be too young to remember it without prompting. If he's prompted, he would remember, but I don't actually think it would be feasible for him to like make the connect the dots, especially since Craigory is now a whole ass adult.
yeah, and I mean, by my calculations, Craigory's only like months older, so
Yeah, like it makes sense that the both of them wouldn't be connecting the dots. Like,
he has asked, however, if you know a wind chimes.
yeah, Cell breaks himself, like shakes himself out of like the blue screen, and he's just, oh, yes, I do know wind chimes. There is a heady pause there, as he seems to like try and like he's trying to like figure out like what exactly like to call Win, because while he has warmed up to the idea of Win being like an uncle slash like father figure, like he's still a little shy about like saying it to complete strangers. So in the end, like after a bit of a pause, he eventually goes, he's my mentor of a sort. You know him? Well, I assume you mistook me for him.
Yeah, only your mentor? Are you sure about that? For
God,
no,
hold on.
no reason whatsoever, just,
That's a 22 deception. Yeah, like in fairness to Cell, this complete stranger mistook you for when called you dad, which is like a whole other can of worms to unpack.
yeah.
And um, then like is Quinn scrutinizing you a little and asking you if he's just your mentor. So like Cell just smiles back and it's just oh yeah, absolutely. And mm, that's a 22 deception. I don't actually know if Craigory can beat that.
Uh, literally, he cannot.
So yeah, he seems to be telling the truth. He at least believes that he's just Win student.
Oh boy. Uh, this person seems to give himself a shake, like, etch a sketch hard reset. Just goes, uh, look, sorry for interrupting. This is weird. Hi, my name is Craigory Danthew, and yeah, no, you just, you look a lot like your mentor. It's funny.
Nah. Cell inwardly, who is this man? Outwardly, he's just yeah, I know. It really is uncanny how being of the same art style can make you look so much like a person. And here he scratches his cheek. If you mistook me for Win, does that mean that you're someone he adopted?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of recent, but also not.
Oh, it's nice to meet you then. And he smiles and neatly does not continue to explain why he looks so much like Win. Craigory is acting very suspicious right now, and
God, he
Self
is.
like this is so suspicious. And Sel's
Oh.
just like, well, if that's all, I should probably go back to my groceries.
Ah, uh, Craigory visibly thinks he doesn't know what to do with this. She's like,
Can we
you know
have
what?
a
I need groceries too. Yeah, it's what I'm here for, definitely. Yeah, groceries. Let's go. He has
on
unceremoniously invited himself along.
out of character? Can the camera zoom into Craigory's brain for a second to see what he's thinking?
You ever see that like SpongeBob bit where there's a multiple of like mini SpongeBobs running around the brain, and there's just like filing cabinets being rummaged through and stuff is on fire?
Yeah, I know.
Visually, that is going on, and there's a big old board over everything that's just flashing with, "Did my dad do another clone? My other dad? Bad dad?"
Oh my god.
Clone alert.
I think Sal just blinks and goes, okay. I mean, I guess it won't hurt. My name's Sal, by the way, and he reaches on and offers a hand for Craigory to shake.
Ah, good. Yes, we're back to like societal norms. Craigory shakes that hand. Acquaintance
Yay.
get.
Acquaintance get TM. Any Anyway, also Hex Craigory Cell's gonna think he's about to get involved in a plot. He is! He is about to get involved in a plot. What the hell do you mean?
Not
But anyway,
directly by this.
not directly by this, but like he is going to get involved in a plot very soon.
It's
Um,
not my fault. It's not my fault.
it's not. But anyway, as they walk, like Cell's inwardly just like, who is this man? Like I can smell the plot. And he's just like, so, you said you wanted to do groceries as well. What are you looking for?
Craigory, who absolutely had not been passing through here looking for groceries, raises a finger. Just goes, uh, dessert supplies.
Oh, you bake? And he looks at Craigory and smiles. That's great. I bake and cook too.
I I try to bake and cook. That's probably about the most accurate thing for me.
Maybe I can give you some pointers. I'm a pretty good cook and baker, if I say so myself. And he smiles at Craigory, and it's just that thing where that's kind of another checkpoint for a similarity between Win and this guy.
Yep. Clone alert has not abated at all.
And he's just like, well, if you're looking for dessert supplies, what are you planning on making?
Uh, Good question. I've tried a couple things. Last attempt at a cake didn't go too well. So, might try that again.
Uh-huh. Like, he's just making a noise of like yes he's listening and he's like paying attention basically as he's also getting his own groceries
Uh,
and
Craigory
like
pulls, gonna pull a basket of some kind, a bag of some kind on a hammer space, because now he is doing groceries. That is a thing that is happening.
roll the hammer space.
Ah, yeah. Yeah,
You pull it.
eco-friendly, reusable bag out.
Mm. And what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, uh, fucking sells just like putting stuff in his own basket, and he's just well, a cake is a pretty complicated thing to start off with. You could try some easy to make brownies instead.
It's been a while since I've tried brownies, actually. The last ones I made weren't bad. The texture was weird, but they tasted fine.
See, I'm pretty sure that if you try it again after having had some experience with it, they'll definitely turn out better.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea. And Gregory's going to keep an eye out for ingredients that do and could go into brownies
Yeah,
and start gathering those.
I think Cell does make a swerve into the dessert. I'll like the dessert stalls like to help like Craigory, and he's just like pointing out like things that could go well in strawberry in brownies. Like he's just like, oh, this might be a little advanced, but you could put raspberries in your brownies if you like. The raspberries with dark chocolate is always a good combination, especially if you leave it to cool for the night and when you cut into it, the dark chocolate and raspberry juice, um, the dark chocolate and raspberry juice oozes out.
Gregory is taking mental notes because holy shit, this guy knows what he's talking about. It sounds like he knows what he's talking about.
It does, and he does know what he's talking about, and like he's just like pointing out, oh, this is the best. Like you'd like this brand of dark chocolate because it gives the brownies the best texture and it doesn't melt as easily in the heat in case you're deciding to bake during a hotter day, etc. etc. Like some fresh raspberries.
Vamp, you're making me hungry.
Good. Smiles at you. I just ate dinner, so I'm immune to this.
Curse you. It's like 10 p.m.
But also, Babel is saying I'm dying because raspberries is something that Win would absolutely suggest with chocolate because Win fucking loves raspberries and chocolate.
Uh, Sel, you're not helping your case.
Listen, I didn't even mean to do it. He was just like, oh yeah, raspberries in brownies are like good.
Uh-huh. And Craigory's listening, just he is listening to this. This like it sounds good. It sounds plausible, and therefore, yeah, definitely gonna try it. Just gonna go, so like how long has Win been your mentor? Like when'd you meet him?
Oh, oh, so there is a bit of a pause as Cell plays with his sleeves and then he's just we met about a year ago? No, not a year ago. Early on this year, um, not that long. We met here in Toontown, and when he met me, we started talking, and we hit it off when we started talking about magic spells and such. And I was quite surprised when he offered to teach me. After all, he is the wind chimes, and like Sal actually does brighten a little at that. Like he is the wind chimes. I mean, you know how skilled he is in magic.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I definitely know that. I grew up with not with him a little bit. He was around while I was growing up some in Toontown. I've known him for a while.
Oh, I see. That's nice.
Yeah. Yeah, it
Love this. I love how Cell has unintentionally like given nothing away that would dispute the clone theory.
Absolutely none. It's like,
Yeah, and Cell's just like, yes, he offered to teach me, and I accepted, and he does like um help. He does help mentor me in the making of spells and other such matters in between my job and my other commitments.
yeah. Oh, what's your job then?
Oh, I work at a cook in a nearby studio.
You know what? That makes sense.
And Marcel like gives a smile and it's just like, hey, did you think that didn't you think it was strange I was that good at cooking and baking?
Well, it doesn't necessarily mean it's your job, but
No, it doesn't, but it is kind of odd that I'm getting this much groceries and he's pointing at his basket, which is admittedly like a lot more food than like one person or even a family would need.
just kind of holds up him like I don't know your life. Speaking of though, like childhood, like where'd you grow up? How was yeah? What happened there?
Craigory, you're being so
He's
sus right now.
being so suspicious.
He is. It's so like still smiling, but inwardly he's just like, who is this man? And outwardly he's just like, oh, I'm afraid I can't tell you much about my childhood. I don't really remember much of it at all.
Uh
You know
huh.
how it is. Smiles.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Gotcha. Like I get it. Just like backs off a bit, both verbally and a bit physically. Just like Craigory is going to be rolling an insight, just in general, by the by, on this.
All right, rolling inside.
Craigory's infamous insight.
What did he roll? I literally cannot roll. Yeah, literally, I could not like roll a lower deception than 3.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's telling the truth as far as Craigory can see. He just doesn't really remember that much about his childhood. You know how it is.
Uh huh. Yeah. Totally not sus at all. And like, totally not because Craigory is just being really weird right now and someone doesn't want to talk to him.
God, yeah. And so like sees Craigory physically back off, and he's just like, "Is something wrong?"
Uh, no, I'm not, look, I'm not trying to be nosy. I just, Wynn never mentioned you, and it's just, oh god, not like Wynn needs to talk about everyone he ever knows. That's not what's, ah! Head kind of goes in hands.
I think Cell chuckles and has a little pity on him because if he actually is Winston, then he's probably like a good guy. If he actually is Winston, like he has like no actual like confirmation of that right now, so he is understandably still slightly sus because this guy's been acting really fucking suspicious. But he's just well, if you know Win, you also know how scatterbrained he can be, right?
Yeah, very familiar with that.
I say this with as much love in my heart. But yes, and we did only meet at the beginning of the year, like Cell points out. Especially if you've known him for much longer, I can't. It makes sense that you wouldn't have heard about me yet.
Hmm. Okay, maybe one more weird question, then I'll try not to be so weird. Listen, does the name Henrik ring any bells for you?
Would it ring any bells for him?
I mean, that's an excellent question. Not in the sense that Craigory's kind of thinking it might, but I figure just for funsies, do you think it's worth rolling a history? Does it knock on
I'm gonna
something in his
try.
brain?
Maybe let's roll history. He has a higher history than Craigory does. No, that's a 9.
Nope.
Nope. He's he's just like, oh wait, Babel's saying that Win may have warned Mersel to stay away.
Mm.
In that case, you know what? It's funny, and I do it. It's funny. Sal's just like Sal takes a moment to think about it, and he absolutely does not remember the actual instances of ever coming across someone called Henrik. But since they are on the topic of when he's just like he snaps his fingers and he's just like, oh, I think I've heard a name like that before. Win has said that there's someone I should avoid.
Yeah, and Wynn's correct. Okay. That's
Uh, is there any reason you asked me that?
uh hmm. Hmm. Kirk's like visibly thinking. She's like, I just
I
don't
love
know
how
how to put it.
I love how nothing Stella has said has disputed the clone theory. Like,
Yeah.
literally nothing he has said has disputed it. Right now, Craigory is well within his right to be like, oh god, did Wynn find out Henrik made a clone of him, like, early on this year?
Yeah. Kirk just kind of like has his hands pressed together. Just I'm not. I'm just not sure how to explain it. So
It's alright. Take your time. I still have a bit more groceries to go through anyway.
it's just you know, I it just looking so somewhere. I thought you might have been related in some way or other. You and Win, not you and this Henrik person.
That's a nat 1.
Uh huh.
Craigory can roll an insight. I mean, Craigory has a good chance of beating it.
Come on, come on, kid. Come on, come on. Please.
Yes!
Yeah.
Okay, you say, oh, the two of you might be related, and Sal actually, you actually notice Marcel like flinch a little,
Oh.
and he's just like, and he's still smiling. It's slightly strained, but he's like holding it together. That's still a 10. Like he's still like holding himself pretty well together, and he's just like, oh, uh, probably not. I, I mean, and he kind of gestures at Craigory, and he's just like, nothing like what you and Win have, probably.
No, not like that. No.
Anyway, and Sal, like, goes to get more groceries.
Just kind of turns and starts to walk, and Kirby's like, ah, crap. Scramble to catch up because he doesn't quite want to leave us alone.
Yeah.
Uh,
Honestly, if like Craigory hadn't been acting so suspicious this whole time, like Sal would have probably been more open to just straight up admitting that, like, Wynn's his uncle.
and yet here we are.
Yet here we are.
Buffoon of a wizard.
Yeah. Like they're walking and Sal's just like carefully like placing stuff in his grocery basket. And he's just like, Craigory, right?
Yeah, Danthew.
Craigory Danthew. How? And here he kind of like hesitates, thinking before. You never really answered my question. Why are you asking me all this?
Craigory kind of looks around because they're in a marketplace, but I think you already established it's not as busy as it could be.
Yeah, it's pretty empty right now. Cell intentionally came here like when he knew it wouldn't be that busy.
Yeah, Craigory looks around, clocks this, all right, looks back up at Cell, just, I mean, I don't know. Are you in the mood to potentially have a bomb dropped on you?
Cell Cell just looks at Craigory and then just goes, "Yeah, I'm you'll be surprised at how often that happens to me, shoot."
Craigory makes a face like he doubts that.
Oh no, no, Cell's telling the truth here. Out
I
of
know
character?
Cell's telling the truth. Craigory doesn't know Cell's life.
Yeah.
I I ask just because uh this Henrik person mentioned is in the business of they are able to make clones. So I just was wondering if maybe you knew that, and if you are,
I'm rolling
helpless
an
gesture.
I'm rolling an intelligence check at disadvantage because that's still such a huge leap. Like that's such a huge leap of logic. Like that's not gonna be Cell's first thought. Okay, 11. Let's see the disadvantage. 11. Okay, I think like it's that thing where Cell is just like, all right, I can understand why when would like to me to avoid him then, and just in the business of doing something like that. Um, and he's kind of like trying to kind of get what Craigory seems to be trying to imply to him, but it's not connecting because again, that's such a huge leap of logic. Like Craigory's experiences are not universal,
They
and
are not.
they are not. So he is absolutely like not getting what Craigory is laying down, and he's just like, "All right, are you warning me because Win knows Henrik and I look like Win?"
Oh, so right, so that's so
Yes.
what I'm saying is that you might already be a clone. Just it's not as out of the question as it sounds.
We could roll something real quick. That's a nat 20 with save. Okay, he doesn't like lose screen immediately. Holy shit.
It just blinks.
Yeah, like he's so used to like stuff like this like happening to him. Like he doesn't even doesn't even blink or blue screen. He's just like, I'm not a clone.
You sound very sure.
Well, yes, I very certain I'm not a clone.
Like you're sure you're sure. Like I'm just saying it's
So inwardly, like he might be taking this very well with a nut punny mistake, but inwardly, Cell's just like, how do you convince someone you're not a clone? Like, what is
Gregory meanwhile it's like how do you convince someone
how do you convince someone you're not a clone? Like, this is like something that like shouldn't be a person's like first leap of logic. And he's just like, why do you think I'm a clone?
because I've seen this situation kind of sort of play out before.
You mean Win has a clone of him running around?
Uh, I mean, he might gestures at Cell again, but no, this is that situation didn't include Win, and
Well, regardless, why would this Henrik guy even make a clone of Win anyway?
Craigory's mouth kind of shuts because you know what? That is an excellent question he hasn't yet considered, and he does not have an answer for that.
Yeah, Craigory, Craigory thinks, thinks of a possible reason, and then he's just like, because Win is, that makes sense.
And Craigory's mouth kind of closes and just shuts and then opens again and then shuts and just goes, all the reasons I can conceivably think of are extremely weird because Win and Henrik are exes? That would be weird. That would be weird. That's.
Mersel makes a face, and he's just like, all right, let's abandon this train of thought, shall we? Going back to the previous thread, I can pretty definitely tell you that I'm not a clone.
Can I get that reasoning at all? Just to cross check?
In my defense, you must understand how this looks to me. A stranger walked up to me in the market, called me dad, thinking that I was Win, has since been asking me pointed questions about my family and my relation to Win and how I know Win, and has also just dropped a bombshell on me that they think that I'm a clone.
Gregor's wincing.
And this is all has happened in he looks up in the sky. 10 minutes give or take since we exchanged our names.
There's not any chance we can just forget about this and start over, right?
Probably not. Especially since I'm not sure you're fully convinced that I'm not a clone yet.
Yeah, you know what? That's. Yeah, I'm gonna. We can drop this. We can drop this. I'm gonna start. You know, I might just talk to Win. Win will look at me like I'm less crazy because Win knows certain things.
And Saul's just chuckling, and I think he just like runs like a hand through his hair, like under his hat, and he's just like, I know I'm not Win's clone. I know what exactly why I look like him, and I do have a childhood. I wasn't very keen on bringing it up because I not like thinking about said childhood, but I did have a life before meeting Win.
Yeah, all right. That's that'll do. Sorry.
But if you're still not convinced, I should note, by the way, Cell's being a little shit right now. He's being something of a little shit.
Yeah, to take a bunch of
But,
Craigory meanwhile is just mortified because like, oh my god.
like,
Here's
Cell
hoping
has
he never runs into this person again.
listen, Cell has some bastard energy. He's best friends with Lucky Jack and good friends with Delta Song Ranger for a reason. He has bastard energy. And Craigory just watches in horror as Cell takes out a flip phone and just like punches us in a few numbers. And then he's just, oh, hey, Win, I think
Oh
someone
my
would like
god.
to talk to you.
Craigory sends Marcella a look of absolute betrayal.
And he hands over the phone to Craigory, smiling like happy flowers, like innocent happy flowers are floating around his head. There's a hello over his head, like the cartoonish Disney angel hello. I'm sure Win can explain it much better than I could.
Oh, okay. Hi.
Would you like to
Um,
introduce yourself?
hi, I'm Babel. I guess I'm playing Wind Chimes in this little cameo.
Yeah, so Win and probably Pain and God, wouldn't it be funny if Ava was just here too?
God, no.
They were having a night out. They were
They
having
were,
a night out. Just in the middle of dinner,
Oh
they
my
get a
god.
call from.
yeah.
Oh
And
my
Mersel
god.
doesn't really. I mean, Sel does call, but he rarely like calls like without warning here, so that's probably why Win picked up immediately.
Pretty much, yeah. More than likely. Assumes it's
Yeah,
an emergency, but like, is delighted about the fact that it's not.
like Fava and Pain just here. Hi, Wen. I met a friend of yours, and he's pretty. Well, let's just say that I think you need to talk to him. You could probably convince him of some things better than I can. Here, let me pass the phone over. And like, there's a rustling noise as the phone is passed over.
All right, sure. I can do my best.
Uh,
Uh,
hey, when it's, uh, Gregory takes the phone from Cell and just kind of turns around and just like, Win, please tell me the Cell guy's not actually your clone. Please tell me that's, look, I'm kind of freaking out over here. And I look insane.
okay.
like, like Marcel has crossed his arms and is leaning against the wall and is trying not to burst out into laughter. He's holding his composure like pretty damn well.
Oh my god. Okay.
Just,
Craigory.
I'm also
Craigory, my
just,
darling son. My wonderful, brilliant son whom I adore with every fiber of my being. I don't have a clone. That's my nephew.
Gregory has this horrible moment of remembering that people can be biologically related.
like the moment like Wynn's like that's my nephew, like Sal loses the fight, and both Pain and Viva and also Wynn just hear the cackle of evil sounding laughter from like the other side of the receiver.
Win has one hand rubbing the side of his face. Meanwhile, Payne in the background has cast silence on himself to keep from laughing over the phone, and Win is kicking him with his leg until he falls out of his chair.
Win, please tell me I'm not on speaker. Win!
I can't hear. It's too loud in my ears to the point where I can't hear it unless you are on speaker. I'm sorry, you are.
Oh, darling, you absolutely are on speaker.
Craigory hangs up.
Marcel,
Excuse you. The phone is immediately getting called back because you do not hang up on your father.
Take it, take it, take it, take it! Shoving the phone back at Cell.
Marcel takes the phone, picks it up, and it's just like, "Hi, Wynn. Are you eating dinner with my mom right now?"
Yes, I decided to take her out to a fancy restaurant.
That's good. Hey, Miss Fiva.
Hello, love. I hope you're having a good evening.
Oh yeah, absolutely. A stranger walked up to me, asked me some really probing questions about my childhood and my relation to Win, and within 10 minutes of us exchanging our names, called me Win's clone.
Craigory is trying to sneak away.
Gregory, get your ass back to this phone. You do not hang up on your father.
I do when you're all laughing at me. Listen, you know why I'm thinking this.
I understand. And I love you. And we can have a little bit more of a talk about this later. And don't worry, you're not in trouble. You are not in trouble. You are perhaps getting some therapy, though.
I think Saul has passed the phone over to Craigory and is once again dying against the wall. Like, objectively, this is hilarious.
I'm glad somebody's having fun.
Just take a deep breath for me, okay? Take a deep breath. You're
Yeah,
okay.
All right, all right. Craigory is. Yeah, he's taking deep breaths. Oh, God, sorry for interrupting your. Sorry for interrupting your date out with, Miss Von Vixen in pain.
You know what? If you're having this bad of a time, I would rather have been interrupted than to find out later. Whether or not I'm having a night out does not mean that you are not still always my first priority.
So, Dad, just out of curiosity, like, how ethical is it for me to figure out how to modify memory of a person? Just, the last 10 minutes from his brain.
Mersel
You're
pipes
not
up.
doing that.
Marcel pipes
Absolutely
up from the
not.
Marcel pipes up from the side like, "Oh, you can try," and he's just smiling. I've thought about tree gods at this point. I don't think that you're gonna succeed.
I'm sorry, you thought what?
Tree gods, and he smiles in a way that shows his teeth.
Blinking. You said you were a cook?
Oh yeah, that's my day job. My other profession is, and he adjusts his hat so that Craigory can notice the sigil that's
Please
pinned to his coat. I'm a wishing star warlock.
have mercy on him, please.
He did just say that he was going to modify memory.
And
No,
I
I
was
did not
handling
say
it.
that. No, that's not what I
You
said.
implied it, Craigory, and that you will be in trouble for.
Nobody heard of
Besides,
hyperbole.
besides, if
Just
I
because I have
don't
the
do
resources doesn't mean I would.
think about it this way, as long as I'm bullying you verbally, this means there's less of a chance of Miss Fava challenging you to a spar and wiping the floor with you.
Oh,
You
good
would lose that
heavens.
fight, darling.
Funny how a black
Ah.
and white tune can go white.
Yeah, Cell's just like, yeah, she taught me dagger work. She quite enjoys bullying me.
How Baba and I met was an interesting factor in and of itself, but let's not. We're getting entirely off topic now. What? Okay. First things first, all of you, and off the phone, he is pointing pointedly at Baba in a very like, all right, we are stopping this, very affectionately. We stop bullying Craigory, please. Craigory, please. Take a deep breath.
Look, it's fine. Just
It's
this is,
like
the best case scenario. So why wouldn't things be great?
I can imagine that it is a jarring experience. It was rather jarring for me when I first laid eyes on him. I did not expect him to look so much like me.
Craigory's kind of looking at Sella again, and there's, different kind of scrutiny, but just kind of says, all right, so, like, that's cleared up. Still kind of, I'm still getting a kind of deja vu sort of thing. I don't know. But, all right. Cool. Glad we're cleared up. This, you can go back to your date. Everything's great.
I do want to talk to you, though. Later. Further explain things, if you would like.
Yeah, later.
A long story, and you deserve to know the history.
If Cell's okay with that.
I think like Cell has gone a little quiet at this, and then he's just Well, Win seems to trust you. Besides, the cat's kind of out of the bag anyway, given that he explicitly called me his nephew.
So, what? Mersel chimes? It's not terrible.
No, Mersel Arlo von Vixen, but my old name was Mersel Gar.
Is it fair to roll history?
Yeah, it's federal history.
Yeah, Win has also gone very quiet at that, and off off phone he is looking away.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
kind of did just reveal something that Saul was trying very hard not to reveal.
All right.
Yeah, wait. Yeah, not with. Yeah, Craigory, that name actually does ring a bell.
Uh huh.
A very distant, long forgotten bell.
And he kind of goes still, looks at Sun, goes, not Mersel?
Uh, and he blinks and he looks slightly more uncomfortable. Craigory knows his full first name and he's just, yes, Sel's my nickname. Sel's my full name.
I think with that roll, Craigory's being hit with memories he hasn't thought about in a long time.
Yeah.
Stuff he kind of forgot about.
Yep.
He just goes,
And
"Ow."
Sel's just standing here
Yeah.
and he's just, when?
Yes.
I think something's happening to your kid.
No, like Al Gore, like those Al Gores. Al Gore's like they live like mansion out in the wood. Like those Al Gores, they're
Yes.
actually Craigory realizes, wait, we're still in public space even if it's quiet.
Yes, that's exactly why Sel's like hissing a trigger that
Yeah,
he.
sorry. Just
Okay, how about we take this and he's looking at Baba and standing up, and he's looking at Payne, who is now also standing up. Perhaps, maybe, all of us should meet in a different space.
You don't have to.
you guys
You're
are
all.
having a dinner date.
Yeah, we can. When we are functional adults, we can like deal with things for a little while.
Okay.
Look,
And if you
finish your
and
date. One of us probably will get in touch with you after this, and things will be great.
I
yeah,
will be getting in
things
touch with
don't.
both of you after this at some point.
Yes, and if things don't go well, you'll probably be first to know. It's fine. We're adults here.
Okay. But you know that you can always call me if you need anything. Both of you. I don't care
It's,
what time of day it is, what I'm doing.
Yeah, I know.
yeah, I know. And Cells is a little more quieter and kind of tentative than Craigory in the yes he knows, but this wasn't like there was a time when he wasn't very sure of that.
Okay. Then I'm going to let you boys go and let you handle it. If you need anything, call me. Send me a text when you guys get home so that I know that you got home safe. I know that
Mm,
you're adults, but I am still your uncle and your dad. I love you.
God, wouldn't it be funny if Win messed up saying uncle, so he's just like daddle?
I was thinking Dunkel.
God, I killed
He
that.
almost did. He almost did. I will give you that. He almost did.
Cell blinking. I'm sorry. What did you say? Was
Uncle. I said uncle. I said uncle and then dad. Yup.
Okay.
Anyways, I love you both. Text us
Bye,
later.
Owen.
Goodbye. Oh no, we're breaking up. And he's gone.
Click.
Yeah. So looks at the phone and then looks at Craigory like, so he definitely nearly didn't say uncle, right?
Oh, he definitely said Dunkle.
Well, what is a dunkel?
Have to assume mixture of dad and uncle. Anyway, we should pay for groceries.
Right. And Saul looks at Grocery. I've already gotten everything I needed, so we could go to my. And he pauses here, and he's just like, I'd say we could go to my apartment, but honestly, I don't know if my family is home. And he kind of like looks at Craigory in the no offense, but it would be pretty hard to explain all this.
Yeah, Krager's like, that's we could go to my old place. It's still empty. No one should be there.
Oh, all right, we can go there then.
And scene transition, I guess.
Yep. And God, like cutting back to like Craigory's old place, Zell's just like, all right, so you seem to have questions, so shoot.
Yeah. Cell, just as a note of where you are, the place seems half packed, half empty, and true to words, there was nobody else around.
Nods, nods.
And okay, okay. So you know how I said we were past me asking you awkward things about your childhood? Unfortunately, gonna have to rescind that because
All right.
did you don't remember me, I guess.
I'll roll it. I'll roll a single history check. The history check would be a plus. Yeah, 6. That's a 19.
Hell.
Think like he squints at Craigory and is just like, and he just kind of pauses because Gregory's looking at him like with familiar. God, my pronunciation familiarity, and he's just like, and kind of rubs at his forehead, just like,
Because they're
your name sounds a little familiar.
right. So listen, my parents, we didn't often travel anywhere, or they didn't often take me with them, but there was one place that they went a few times where they took me, and it was they'd go talk to the Al Gores, and I would be left to entertain a kid, their kid.
And Sal kind of rubs at his forehead like, I we would talk we would talk about the kind of spells that they've been talking about when they thought we weren't listening.
Yeah,
And how
try to we tried to get into like your parents' library and look at their spell books. It didn't work, but
Sal actually makes a little face, like it's a slight grimace slash wince when he's saying, yeah,
completely Craigory's idea, that one.
yeah, and he's just like, yes, I remember that, and I remember we were discussing things like soul jar and power words. And he's grimacing a little and he's just, we didn't know what they did, but they sounded cool.
Yeah, it sounds cool when you're a kid. Know what they are now.
He kind of like pauses and looks at Gregory and's like, and if you're that Gregory, Wait, Wynn's known you since you were a child?
Known me since I was like around 12. Yeah, when I got moved to Toontown.
Cell does some mental calculations. And he's just like, yes. And there is a slight, it's just like, again, like, Craigory, Cell, and Wynn both said that they've only met each other recently, so you can connect the dots here. You've known Wynn for a bit. He was in and out of your life. Not the case with Cell. And Cell just kind of clears his throat a little and goes, well, that does make me feel a little better about you knowing all this, although, and he kind of like gives a slightly sheepish smile, like, does that convince you that I'm not a clone?
You know what? It really does.
Yeah, and Cell just gives a laugh and it's just like, well, I look different now than I did prior. I think meeting when actually made my appearance redesigned slightly to look more like him.
Man, I hadn't thought about that in forever. Like,
I honestly completely forgot. A lot
yeah, it
of
only
stuff.
like happened twice.
Yeah, a lot of stuff's happened since, and like you say, we only ever met twice. I'm surprised that you even managed to remember it at all. I know I didn't until you brought it up.
You were one of the only other people I saw other than my parents.
Ah, okay, that makes sense. And he kind of adjusts his hat. And then because it's a 19 like roll, he kind of is like the equivalent of a slow blink with closed eyes, and he's just like, "Wait, your parent wasn't he?"
Eh. Henrik Danthew. Kind of jazz hands.
Oh, or Saul grimaces. Oh boy, that's Actually, you don't have to tell me any of that. And Saul kind of
I
taps
mean, I've
himself.
accidentally kind of pulled a bunch of stuff out of you, so it just doesn't quite feel fair.
No, it's all right. And Saul's just like smiling. And it's just like, honestly, it is. Well, I wouldn't say it's common knowledge, but I do still use my name and know the risks of someone recognizing me. I just usually rely on looking and acting so differently than what people know of me that that's not going to be the first conclusion they come to. In fairness, it was not the first conclusion Craigory came to.
It was not. It works.
It works. It's like Clark Kent thing, except like it actually has basis here because he's a lot taller, he's a lot stockier than when he was a teenager slash kid. He has redesigned it a little, and yes, his name's Mersel, but his last name's different, and he
Plenty of
carries himself.
Marcells in the world. Yeah.
Yeah,
Gregory's
so like
fiddling with an amulet on a sash around his hips. Like, no one's. I mean, obviously, lips are sealed. No one's gonna learn that from me.
yeah, and he sighs and he's just like, thanks for that. In the meantime, he kind of looks around the empty place. Is there a functioning kitchen?
Uh, yes, there does exist a kitchen.
Yeah,
Hey,
I think Sal just goes over to the kitchen and goes, it is getting a bit late. Why don't I make the both of us some dinner and we can chat?
I mean, are you? Listen, the place is half packed. I don't know if you'd had everything. Like, that sounds like work. Are you sure Craigory's patting after? Also, like, there's nothing in the fridge. There is nothing in the fridge.
Yeah, Sal just straight up takes off his hat and then puts it on the counter and then lifts it up and there's like an entire like pantry's worth of ingredients.
You know what? That works. If you're determined, I will not stop you.
Yes, Hex, he just has that. Have you met this man? He has the cauldron from Glorps in his hat. Like that's the second thing he pulls out. Like a
My
straight up
God.
cauldron. Yes, he also just has food. You think he cooks so much in his free time, Hex? Do you
We've
realize how much
established with Cell that food keeps in hammer space.
yeah, he cooks so much, Hex. Like almost every one of his FPSs start in some shape, way, or form with food. So
And this,
yes, he's just. So yes, he is gonna cook.
well, this is happening. Craigory will not stop him, and just, uh, I
Yeah,
will
and as
offer
he
help. I will warn you. I am banned from more than one kitchen.
and so like snorts and it's just like you can help me chop things. Although, and here he kind of like looks at like Gregory again and gives a little grin and it's just like, you know, this is one hell of a reunion, isn't it?
Yeah, God, it really is.
Gregory voice, that's one way to put it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Sol goes back to sleep. Meanwhile, Hex is asking for your attention in Nephia's commentary.
Yeah, I see it, and I'm glaring at the screen.
What would be hilarious, Hex?
Would Mersel like to stave off plot a little longer?
It's so. I mean, we already established he is going to be caught up in plot like very soon. And also, do you know who's the person who has control over Sel's lore? It's Hex.
This would be Craigory plot rather than Cell plot, but like.
I know, but you know what I mean. I don't mind. I mean,
Well, you know what? We'll let the dice decide that this one. Craigory's going to be chopping stuff for you, Mersel.
eh, it's okay. Like yeah. Let's let the dice decide. I will roll a d2. If it's a one, Hex gets to be evil. If it's a
It's
two,
more
they
like,
get.
I would say, it's more like I'm rolling some sort of dex thing for Craigory on the chopping block.
Oh,
It's more like
holy
that.
shit! Oh dear. Okay, roll it.
Craigory has been assigned to chop, I assume, vegetables.
Yes.
Out of curiosity,
Sure.
what is Marcel making?
You know what? I'm saying that he's making stew because he did take out a cauldron. He's making a simple beef stew with tomato sauce, leeks, onions, ground beef, onions, leeks, some garlic, some carrots, some potatoes.
Once again, you're making me very hungry.
Yeah, it's a very simple beef stew recipe. You cook the ground beef first until they're all brown, and then take out the ground beef and you put in all the vegetables in the skillet and you just cook them for a bit, and then after that you pour the beef back in, and then you pour in a hefty amount of chicken broth. No, not chicken broth, beef broth. You pour in a hefty amount of beef broth, and then you let it let it boil for 15 minutes, and then you add like an entire like jar of like tomato paste that's been seasoned with basil and oregano, and you then get the heat down to medium low, and then you let it simmer for 15 more minutes, and then after that you can serve.
10% of any Vamp FPS with Marcel, just recipes. It sounds
This one,
great.
this one is one that I actually use a lot because it's pretty like preparing the vegetables is like the hardest part. That's it. It's literally just the chopping. The recipe itself is easy and not easy to fuck up, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I actually have a photo of the last time I made it a few days ago.
Ooh, delicious.
Let me send it.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yep, it's really good.
All right, so Marcel, you can tell obviously, Craigory's not a professional cook. His knife technique is not
Atrocious.
abysmal, but you can tell that it's when Craigory is cutting things, it's like to do with magical component stuff. It's not
Yeah,
cooking technique.
yeah. You know, Cell won't judge. Like he was like that too once.
Yeah. So it doesn't have the fingers curled in to not catch his fingertips.
Yeah, I think Cell would actually like speak out at that. Like, be careful with your fingers. Cutting ingredients. Ingredients tend to have more of a resistance than magical components. Because I imagine magical components are easier to chop if only because they're semi held up with magic.
Yeah, makes sense to me. Chris like,
Yeah, so he's
okay,
just like, be careful, don't cut yourself.
right. And Craigory starts going slower and more careful. And the great news for Osha is, congrats, them veggies are chopped. It takes a moment between, you know, I lost the words, but it's not Marcel's practice. Talk, 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 talk. It's done in the pot.
Like honestly, the chopping is the hardest part. Like after that, like it's mostly just like stuff simmering. And they probably chat the whole time.
Yeah, exactly. You know, cooking with people is good bonding.
It is good bonding. And hey, Craigory can ask Sel about like the comments that he made earlier.
Uh, there were a few comments.
You can ask Sel about being a wishing star warlock or fighting a god.
Yeah, actually, it's a good one. Just washing said knife. So, Warlock, huh? Wishing star, huh? Uh, how does being a warlock treat you?
Oh, I enjoy it a lot, and he's just smiling. And it's not for everybody, but I knew what I was getting into, and it works for me.
Hmm. Well, it's good to hear that.
Yep. And I'm just rolling a 10. I kind of wish he would fumble because there's a very like fun fumble in his fumble chart, but alas, he's not gonna fumble. Um, yeah, he just takes out like a dish rack to like start drying some of the wet dishes, and he's just like, yes, it's being a wishing star warlock is certainly eventful, but it's the good kind of eventful.
Because, I mean, wishing star, like, what kind of stuff does your patron even ask of you? If
Uh,
if that's not too.
no, it's fine. Asking of me is a strong word. I'm not in contact with her most of the time, but as a goddess, she's the goddess of making your own luck, granting your own granting your own wishes, seizing your own chances, if that makes sense. The middle of the story, so to speak. And well, and he kind of gestures. When I say that it's eventful, it means that I tend to be pulled towards unfolding stories that are happening in my sphere. If something's about to happen in my vicinity, more often than not, I'll be pulled into it somehow.
Gregory's making a face like he's trying very hard not to laugh, and he's just like, "Oh, I know someone who would hate that."
And Saul like gives a chuckle and he's just like, I hear that a lot. Like I said, I don't mind all too badly. I enjoy the excitement. I enjoy being able to help people in ways that I probably wouldn't if I weren't drawn up into their vicinity at all. but it's not for everyone, that's for sure.
Yeah, it sounds a little intense, but
And he
you know,
smiles.
get some net good out of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely got some good out of it. And he kind of rolls his neck. He doesn't mind saying it because Craigory, again, like they knew each other, and the ship has kind of sailed in terms of keeping secrets at this point. So he's just, yes, I mean, initially when I took the pack, I took it I took it at the cost of my old one. I took it specifically to override my old one.
Uh, gonna roll performance for Craigory. Hold on. This is the right channel.
Holy boy, oh boy. That's an 18.
Yeah. Head does not whip around at that statement, but makes a noise of just like a interesting. Just goes, that's a thing. Then you can swap out one pact for another. Is that how that works?
Well, and Yearsel kind of pauses and goes, well, in my case, my initial patron was a lot more, wasn't as present. I had the pack from birth, so to speak. It was something that was passed down generation from generation due to the initial terms. In this case, I was able to just override it because one, my patron wasn't that active in my life to begin with, and two, the wishing star is a very powerful deity in her own right. But I've seen it happen with someone else in my life, a little girl named. Well, I probably shouldn't give you her name since that's
Oh
her.
yeah, no, privacy stuff, but it
Yes,
happens.
but she was also in a pack that she did not wish to be in, as I was, and she also made a deal with a similar, with a much stronger god because her patron wasn't nearly as strong. This is said with a little bit of and like a little bit of how should I put this? He's getting Mr. M's ass
Just uh,
slightly snide, but
out of
but yeah, he's just. But yes, she made a pact with another god, with a god, and overall her old pact as
just
per the terms of the deal.
out of curiosity, what what was that god?
Oh, the one that helped the little girl. It was Crunkle, the god of love and affection and care.
And what did he want for making that
For
deal?
I believe, well, I'm not privy to the terms of her pact, but from what I've gleaned, in exchange for cutting her ties to her old pack and giving her a new pack, he wished to give her this space and opportunity to grow past what her old pack was forcing her to. But he is the god of love and care and affection. He has vested interest in making sure that she learns how to feel that love and care and affection and all that.
You want to roll an insight, Mersel?
Yeah, sure. Not even contesting it with deception, because what he's saying is all true.
Mm-hmm. Hold on, to be clear, yeah. Mersel rolling an insight on Craigory.
Oh, okay, that makes more sense. I
Yeah,
thought
it
you
was like,
wanted to roll an insight on Cell.
yeah.
That's a 17.
There's a couple things going on here. So you've just kind of explained what you know of, you know, what Crunkle's expectations of this kid were, and Craigory looks sus, looks kind of like he doesn't believe that's all there is. doesn't necessarily think that Cell is hiding anything. He just doesn't think that's... Mersel, this is striking as someone who doesn't really have any sort of faith in powerful beings like gods and deities and demi-deities.
He's not really that offended because he does know people like that. Like, I guess Jared Gill, who is his little brother, and he kind of chuckles and it's just like, I know. You gotta keep in mind that different gods will ask for different things. Krunkle is one of the most down-to-earth deities I know. He interacts with mortals much more than some other deities do. A lot of other deities would probably demand more of a price.
All right.
But not the case with Krunkle.
Yeah. The other thing with 17 is Craigory is listening to all this very intently, taking it all in very intently.
And Sal's just like, is there any reason you wanted to know this?
Just seems like good information to know, right? That's going to be a deception.
Yeah, roll that deception.
Well,
Okay,
a 15 doesn't beat a 17. Craigory is definitely isn't answering that in full at all.
Yeah, I think Sal kind of notices this, but unfortunately for the both of us, Sal is not the type to push. And he just like gives a little chuckle, and it's just like, suppose that's true. But if you have questions about being a warlock of some kind, feel free to come to me. I've basically been one my entire life.
I might keep that in mind, yeah.
And he smiles and, not even polite. This is like a fatal flaw of his that he doesn't push. Yeah.
Listen, Craigory is also can be way too polite to push for details.
Yeah. And Sal's just taking stuff out of his hammer space. I really wish that he'd fumble, because there's something in his hammer space fumble that would be like very interesting for him to fumble and take up with Craigory right here.
I mean, you could follow your heart.
I could follow my heart. I could follow my heart.
I give you
Fumble
permission to fudge the numbers if you like.
Oh right, fine. I fudged the numbers slightly. Reaches into his hammer space, presumably to pull out some more like rags, because the one that he's been wiping the dishes with has started getting like a little too soaked. And actually, he doesn't pull anything like a rag out. He pulls out a blue rose. And it's a very pretty blue rose. Like, it's a very bright shade of blue. It has like little stars on the petals. And he pulls it out, and Craigory actually sees like Mersel's pros where like, huh, I don't remember that.
Huh. Me, the player speaking. Should I know this?
Hex is screaming like in the FPS commentary.
Oh shit. Oh, I see. Oh, I fucking see. And Craigory sees that, and after a moment also kind of frowns like, where'd you get that then?
I think like I'm rolling a quick history. Okay, yeah. I think Sal's bros photos, and he very clearly like is thinking first, just like, oh, I think I remember it was a while back. I woke up from my sleep and a blue rose had I think fallen on me while I was sleeping. So, and it was very pretty, and I don't know, it felt a bit warm, so decided to keep it in my hammer space. Would have put it on my hat, but I'd rather not burn when I get into situations.
Probably smart, probably smart.
He kind of like twirls the blue rose a little before he He doesn't actually put it in his armor space. He pins it like on his coat for a bit before it goes back to drying dishes. What was that 13?
History for Craigory to see if that pinged anything much, and yeah,
It's familiar.
it's familiar, but he can't pin why.
Yeah, it's familiar, like, especially the part where Cell was just like, oh, it was on me when I woke up. Like, that part makes Craigory feel, like, familiar, but also, like, can't pinpoint it.
Cell needs to stop doing this to him. It feels like every second thing about Cell just pings something familiar. And Craigory is tired of making a fool out of himself, so he's gonna drop that.
Yeah, Cell honestly has no information to give aside from what he gave Craigory anyway, even with a 15 in history. Although I could use a luck point to give you advantage on the history roll.
I mean, even if he super succeeded, I don't know what Craigory would realistically remember.
That's true. Fair enough. I think they probably lapsed into silence again as they both like put away the dishes and they eat dinner and all that. And they probably just talk.
Yeah, catching up. It's kind of a weird vibe, just with the beginning of how it started, then realizing, like, oh man, we kind of knew each other once. And it's weird juxtaposed against how, when they were kids, they just, got along immediately, running around all over the place. And as adults, it's a bit more unsure.
Uncertain, yeah.
But it's working. They're getting something. It's a little weird, but also I think a way we could zoom out on this is Craigory. They've eaten dinner. Bulls are putting in. Craigory says, "We forgot to message Win."
Cell just makes a Winston's just like, oh yeah, we should do that now. And that's probably how the FPS ends. Although, I hope Craigory knows that Cell will never let him live down their first meeting.
Listen, and Craigory counter, it's not their first meeting. That's not fair.
It was their first meeting as adults.
It's not fair. No.
It was their first meeting as adults. This is absolutely, like, hilarious.
Oh dear.
Cell can poke a little fun.
He can.
He can. He deserves it. He deserves to be a little bastard. Craigory managed to trip, like, the little bastard energies. It doesn't trip often, but when it trips, it sure does trip.
Cell deserves a little knife cat emoji.
Cell deserves a little knife cat emoji. But hey, Craigory, I hope you enjoyed the talk, especially the bits about warlocks.
Yeah, that's useful. He is taking notes on that. Man.
Craigory taking mental notes? Oh, that's a thing I can do, huh?
Yeah. Man. Thank you for this FPS. This is something we've been sort of softly batting around for a while now.
Yeah, we were actually, like, debating whether or not we wanted to make this specific thing where they knew each other canon.
But
Because ultimately, it doesn't really change that much.
doesn't change that much, but
Yeah.
I just
but,
think it's neat, and I've, just establishing this dynamic could come in handy later.
Kraken voice, this is a surprise tool to help us later.
Mm-hmm. Alright, I think then I'll be good to stop my recording. Thank you for listening, everyone. Thank you for surprise guests, Pabble and Hex.
I hope Vava, Pain, and Win had, like, aside from the slight anxiety, now that it's died down, I hope they are having a little bit of a chuckle. That was genuinely hilarious.
Alright. Good night, everyone.